What if I told you that Johnny Depp is coming back in a way nobody expected? Not with a loud Hollywood explosion, not through a big franchise return, and not by trying to reclaim old titles or chase past glories. Instead, he's stepping back into the spotlight with something quieter, something deeper, something that feels like art instead of noise. A comeback that doesn't scream, but rather whispers its power with confidence. And this time, the movie that's leading this next chapter has a surprising name: Day Drinker. Yeah, I know. The title alone makes you blink twice. It sounds dramatic, bold, maybe even controversial. And that's exactly why everyone's talking about it. At first, a lot of people heard that title and instantly thought, oh, here we go. Another controversy magnet. Or, is this some kind of self-reflection movie about his past headlines? Nope, it's none of that. And that's where things get interesting. Because this movie title doesn't mean what people think. It's not tabloid bait. It's not shock value. It's not some messy sob story or scandal-inspired drama. Instead, it's a psychological, emotional, artistic journey. And Johnny's role in it? It's raw. It's human. It's personal. It's layered. It feels like something more powerful than a comeback. It feels like a statement. It feels like an evolution. If you've been following everything around Johnny these past few years, the chaos, the silence, the tension, the love from fans, the hesitation from Hollywood, you'll understand why this movie matters. He didn't rush. He didn't chase attention. He didn't jump at the first shiny offer. He waited. He rebuilt. He showed up quietly, steadily, with dignity and patience. And now suddenly, out of nowhere, we're staring at a film that might just become one of the most defining moments in his career. Not because it's the most expensive. Not because it has the biggest explosions or the loudest promotions. But because it has heart. Because it has courage. Because it has truth. The moment the world heard about Johnny working again, and especially with this title, fans leaned in. Hollywood raised its eyebrows. Critics started whispering. Industry insiders said, wait, this one's different, and they're right. This is not a comeback fueled by pressure. This is a comeback fueled by soul. Sometimes a quiet step forward is louder than 100 headlines. Sometimes an artist doesn't return to reclaim a stage. Sometimes they come back to build a new one. I think what really makes this moment special is the energy around it. It's not frantic. It's not rushed. It's calm, mature, self-assured, like a storm that doesn't need to roar to remind the world it's powerful. Like someone who has seen the worst, survived it, breathed through it, and walked out with a quiet fire inside. That's the Johnny we're seeing now. Not desperate, not loud, not demanding attention. Just showing up, fully present, fully aware, fully himself. And here's the part that adds another spark. Penelope Cruz is right there with him. The last time these two shared the screen, sparks flew. Their chemistry? It wasn't acting. It felt lived in, natural, almost like two artists speaking a language only they understand. Seeing them reunite again for this? It's not just exciting, it's poetic. Two people who built careers on intensity, emotion, truth, and deep storytelling reunite in a film that explores vulnerability and introspection. You can already feel the electricity before the trailer even drops. And let's clear this up again, because rumors love to run wild. This movie isn't about alcohol. It's not about messy headlines. It's not about trying to dramatize the past or recreate controversy. This isn't some Hollywood redemption pity film. It's about human struggle, memory, love, loss, inner battles, the quiet fight people face when they're rebuilding their identity. When you choose peace instead of noise, healing instead of revenge, art instead of distraction. That's the tone. That's the vibe. That's the depth. It almost feels like this role mirrors his life in a symbolic way, not literally, but spiritually. A character trying to understand who he is after chaos? A character wrestling with emotional layers and identity? That hits different when it's Johnny delivering it. And maybe that's why fans feel something. Because they've watched him go through storms. They've watched him stay quiet when many would have shouted. They've watched him lose things, protect things, and now, slowly, rebuild things. This isn't a comeback full of fireworks. This is a comeback full of soul. What I love about this whole energy is that it reminds you, Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes strength looks like choosing a quieter life. Sometimes strength looks like stepping away instead of fighting back. Sometimes strength means not proving anything, just being. And that's what makes Daydrinker feel like a special moment. It doesn't feel like business. It feels like art. It feels like someone reclaiming their voice in the most elegant way possible. Not by yelling, but by acting. By performing. By telling a story with emotion and honesty. And the industry sees it. This isn't some random indie project. This isn't a rushed comeback vehicle. There are whispers, big whispers, of festival circuits, European premieres, critics preparing essays about the artistic rebirth of Johnny Depp. There are conversations about Cannes, Venice, Toronto. These are stages for artists, not franchises. These are screens where movies breathe, not explode. And him stepping into that world right now, that's confidence. That's maturity. That's someone stepping into legacy mode. You know how some careers have 2 chapters? Young star. Mature legend. This feels like that turning point. He's not coming back to be a blockbuster machine. He's coming back to be a cinematic force again, but in a way that feels refined, lived in, powerful. Like he's saying, I don't need to prove anything. I just need to create, and honestly, that's the most powerful comeback there is. Not the loud one. The honest one. A film critic recently whispered, Johnny isn't returning to Hollywood. Hollywood is returning to Johnny, and honestly, that line hits harder than most people realize. It's not just a compliment, it's a shift. It's a sign that something in the industry, and in the audience, has changed. People are done with manufactured personalities and copy-paste blockbuster heroes. They want real stories again. They want real people again. They want emotion, not algorithms. Heart, not hype. And in that space, Johnny feels like oxygen. Think about it. Hollywood spent years chasing trends, explosions, reboots, sequels, CGI everything, fast everything. Characters talking at 200 miles per hour but saying absolutely nothing. And audiences clapped for a while, sure. But slowly something started to happen. People started feeling numb. The stories felt empty. The characters felt hollow. The actors, nearly replaceable. It didn't matter who was cast, they all kind of blended into one forgettable blur. Oversaturated smiles, recycled jokes, predictable scripts. But then Johnny stepped away and suddenly his absence was louder than headlines. His silence felt heavier than all the noise around him. And that's when people realized, oh wait, he wasn't just entertaining. He was one of one. There's a certain kind of performer you only get once in a generation. Someone who doesn't act for applause or approval. Someone who lives inside every role, breathes into it, shapes it, bends it, makes it human. Johnny is that type. He never plays a character as a movie star. He plays them like a soul wearing skin. Even when he's larger than life, he's somehow still intimately real. And in a time where audiences are starving for authenticity, that matters. That hits. People want sincerity now. They want vulnerability. They want depth. They want someone who doesn't just perform pain, they understand it. A lot of Hollywood forgot what acting is. They started treating art like content. Moments became clips, scenes became gifs, emotion became marketing strategy. But Johnny never functioned like that. You can't clip his depth into a 10-second meme. His performances breathe. They build, they stay with you. Long after the credits. Long after the noise fades. And now, after everything he's walked through, there's a new layer. A new weight, a new stillness. He's not just acting anymore, he's sharing. That's why people feel this comeback differently. It's not about cheering for a celebrity. It's about witnessing an artist return to his canvas. With scars, wisdom, and a quieter fire. What makes this moment even more powerful is how he's returning. Not aggressively, not loudly, not with some "I told you so" attitude. He's walking back with grace, with calm, with patience. He's not proving anything, he's expressing. He's not fighting for spotlight. He's letting the spotlight find him again naturally, organically. That's rare. That's humility. That's confidence at its purest form, the kind that doesn't scream because it doesn't need to. Right now, audiences crave honesty. They want performers who've lived life, who've felt heartbreak, rejection, pressure, love, loss, and survival. People connect to truth, And Johnny brings truth the way poets bring words and painters bring color. Look at the evolution of audience taste. Independent films are rising again. Emotional dramas are trending again. Slow cinema, character-driven stories, flawed heroes. People want that. They want substance, meaning, imperfection over polish, raw over rehearsed. And who fits into that world more naturally than Johnny Depp? When the critics said Hollywood is returning to him, it wasn't arrogance. It was destiny. There are cycles in cinema, and right now the cycle is swinging back toward artistry, toward emotional intelligence, toward performances you feel instead of just watch. And when that shift happens, the industry doesn't look for a new face. It looks back at the ones who carried soul when nobody else did. Johnny never needed bright lights to shine. His light is internal, not rented by fame or fueled by hype. He's the kind of presence that can't be manufactured, can't be duplicated, can't be replaced by a franchise kid with perfect hair and a digital fan base. He's lived. He's felt. He's broken. He's rebuilt. And that gives him something no studio can buy: human truth. Actors like him don't return to Hollywood. Hollywood wakes up and remembers why it needed them. And right now, that's what's happening. Quietly, softly, powerfully. Johnny's not chasing Hollywood. Hollywood is slowly walking back. Head lowered a little, pride tucked away, saying, "We still need you." And here's the beautiful part: he didn't demand it. He didn't beg for it. He didn't scream for attention. He simply continued being who he is: an artist, a storyteller, a soul-driven creator, and life made its way back to him. That's grace. That's dignity. That's strength disguised as softness. So when he steps onto the screen again, it won't just be another performance. It'll be a reminder of what real acting looks like, of what real presence feels like, of what real art sounds like when spoken through a heart instead of a PR script. It's not just Hollywood returning to him. It's the audience, the industry, the culture, quietly circling back, realizing that authenticity always outlasts noise. Johnny isn't back. He never really left. The world just needed time to realize it still needs artists like him. And now it has. And watching this unfold, it feels less like a comeback and more like a homecoming. And honestly, it feels right, doesn't it? Let's be real. This isn't about fame anymore. This is about craft, passion, freedom, peace. It's about an artist choosing his projects like a painter chooses his colors, deliberately, carefully, with meaning behind each choice. And Daydrinker feels like a brushstroke in a new masterpiece chapter. It feels like a man looking inward instead of outward. It feels like someone finally exhaling after years of holding their breath. And I know some people are wondering, why not go back to a massive franchise? Why not do a big, loud blockbuster? But that's the thing, loud isn't always the answer. Sometimes subtlety is revolutionary. Sometimes the softest move is the most shocking move. Sometimes not chasing the spotlight earns you more respect than running toward it. This return isn't about noise. It's about soul. It's about stepping into the world, not as Captain Jack Sparrow, not as a guitar legend, not as a tabloid figure, but as Johnny. Just Johnny. And honestly, that's enough. More than enough. Now picture this. The theater goes dark. The screen lights up. And you see Johnny, not in costume, not hiding behind a character, but in a role that feels pure and human. A role that breathes emotion instead of spectacle. You feel it before he even speaks. You sense the weight. You sense the honesty. You sense the transformation. You sense the truth. And suddenly you realize this isn't a comeback to prove something to the world. It's a comeback to express something to the world. That's different. That hits harder. That echoes longer. Because comebacks fade. But transformations, they last. So here's where I pass it to you. Because this moment isn't just about him. It's about the people who waited. The fans who stood by him. The ones who said, he'll return when he's ready. And here we are. Finally. Not in chaos. Not in drama. Not in noise. In art, in peace, in intention, in evolution. Tell me, do you think this quiet, emotional return is the right move? Do you love this direction where he chooses depth over flash? Where he chooses storytelling over spectacle? Or do you want to see him jump back into big action worlds right away? There's no wrong answer. This is a conversation. And trust me, every comment, every thought, every perspective matters. Because this isn't just a movie moment, it's a cultural moment. So drop your thoughts below. Let's talk. Let's celebrate this chapter. Let's share excitement, theories, hope, and support. If you're feeling this new energy, tap that like button. It truly helps. And if you haven't already, join the journey by subscribing. We're following Johnny's new era step by step, and I promise you, this story is just beginning. If you want to keep going deeper into this evolution and see how his silence, style, and strength shaped his comeback, watch the next video. You won't want to miss what comes next. See you there?